Welcome to the Arizona range again. We are talking about every weapon in a particular series again. This time it is Half-Life themed. Every weapon from Half-Life 1, 2, Alyx, Opposing Force, and no other Half-Life games. Because none of the other actual Half-Life games add any extra weapons. We're going to start with, you know how it is. So if that sounded too loud, please turn that down. And into the thing it goes. Nope. So this is all of our Half-Life 1 weapons. This includes Half-Life 1 HD, which is why there's another pistol. Here we've got the Glock. So what happened was William Howard Glock, who I believe his real name. It's totally not. It is now. Was like, I want a rectangle that can kill. So he made one.
Yeah, alright. I mean, checks out.
I mean, for what it's worth, the sights are pretty easy to read. I want to see... Was this the gun that we got, like, the super long distance, yeah. Yeah!
That magazine just went yeet.
This is what makes the Glock a perfect weapon. In John Wick 4, the final hour, John Wick will do that. We'll do this.
Oh.
We'll do this.
There it goes.
Not quite. We'll do that first thing I did, and kill somebody with a Glock magazine.
Yeah.
We don't have the right Glock, I just realized. Because there is an alternate fire. The Glock in Half-Life 1 has an alternate fire. Although it's not quite this speed.
Jeez.
Not quite this speed. It's more like... You know, it's more like this. I got one hit. I wasn't even aiming, but... You know. It has a full auto, and it's less accurate. Just, you know, it's not... It's not that. Okay. So, the people who are going to use the Glock, who are meant to use the Glock in Half-Life, are just security. And that's for, like, hey, somebody's trying to get in. Or, hey, somebody's trying to steal Dr. Magnuson's casserole for the third time this week. It's not meant to, you know, pierce alien hides, so I really can't be angry at it. It is still just a rectangle that can kill. I'm gonna give it... This is kind of... It's a lot of things. It's like how I feel about the weapon, but then also how capable I think it is as a killing machine in Gordon's hands. And this is also why we're doing a fourth take, because I get to give different letters every single time.
Every single time.
Yes. Opinions fluctuate wildly.
Yes, they do.
And as such, it gets a B-. It's fine.
It was a C+ last time. What the...
I know! This is why I asked you to erase them, because it, like, I think about them in different ways each time. Okay, that's our Doom video out of the way. I don't like these sights.
They're not that good.
Okay, thank you, Windows Mixed Reality. Magazine's gone. I don't know where it went. There we go. Can you do the funny meme thing? That'll do. This one also has a full auto counterpart, I realized. Full auto counterparts, and we're kind of going to go through all of them. This one's only 3-round burst, which is interesting. So that's the real one. We've got the RoboCop one. This is also in 3-round bursts.
Well, that's because RoboCop shot his gun in 3-round bursts.
Can you get... It's also because that's how the 93 Radica, or whatever it was called, fires. I expected a 4. That's got a 4. Guess Robert Kopp doesn't need a 4-grip. And then we've got the Cleric. And this is from something else, too. And this one's got... There we go.
What is that muzzle flash?
This was an interesting diversion that we didn't need.
No, we really didn't. Every time we re-record this episode, it just gets longer and longer.
It gets different. I don't like the Beretta. So, I have a number of issues with it, and this involves me having to empty it. First of all, its slide is all exposed, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But that is also an issue, because that's how you get dirt and crumbs inside the gun. And then what are you going to do? That's right. Take it apart. Clean it. Oh, hey, here's a zombie when you're in the middle of flipping field stripping your gun to get the head crab juice out of it. Uh-oh. Nope. That ain't gonna happen. Smaller magazine size, although in Half-Life Source, or Half-Life... Whichever one they added the HD texture pack to first.
I think that's just classic Half-Life.
Yeah, I think that was Blue Shift, though, was where they created the texture pack. It's the same capacity, but sights are worse. This gets a C-. There is now a pretty wide gap between the two.
Yeah.
And that's because, frankly, they're good at being two completely different things. The Glock is a nice, readable gun, and the Beretta exists. This is the Colt Python. This is in Half-Life 1 and Half-Life 2. And they actually use the same, like, world model for both. Like, when it's sitting on the ground, you pick it up. It's the same model, just textured different. Also worth mentioning, the weapon model in Half-Life 1, it's held about like this, but the barrel looks longer because the barrel like flares out more at the end. Black Mesa actually has like a realistically proportioned version of this gun. I forgot its name, the Colt Python. And the artists from Half-Life 1 hate it because it's realistically proportioned and thus looks shorter. I think they're just weenies. Here we go. Okay, this has got some punch to it. I do legitimately think this could take out alien threats. And plus, when Gordon's feeling feisty, he can pull down the hammer, and then any amount of pressure on the trigger will shoot the gun.
What is it, a hair trigger?
Yeah, when you pull the... So... like that. Whereas, otherwise you have to pull it back farther. Yeah. So Gordon's got dependability and accuracy when he needs it. And then, you know, you can keep it like this. He's going around a corner. Porygon! Okay. Or, you know, you could do fun things like this. You know, just empty the whole thing. Ammo is scarce, though, so I don't know if Gordon would want to empty the whole thing that fast. This is definitely really good, though. This will save your bacon. This is, like, an A+. It's a gun so nice he got to use it twice. It's one of the few weapons that they could not bring themselves to replace. And that brings us to the other gun they couldn't bring themselves to... Why is it always the shotguns I have problems with in this series? Okay. Okay, so now that's in pump mode. Okay, now it's full. I guess I'll just put these away. So in Half-Life the HD pack, Gordon fires it like this with the stock up, which is cool until he has to aim, and then he gets to learn that they use the front sight as a means to kind of screw the stock in place. So maybe don't do that, Gordon. Maybe somebody needs to teach you how firearms work, Gordon. Also, speaking of learning how firearms work, this isn't a second barrel. When you fire it like a normal human being... the draw on the actual pump is a lot longer than it feels like it should be, and I think that's just because the SPAS was not designed to be good. It looks imposing, which is why it's in everything. You know, that's not a shotgun, that's a fucking anti-aircraft weapon. That's
I mean, you're not wrong.
Okay. And now we can activate the fun magic trick. There we go. I'm here to present how I think the double shot should be. Instead of just being 2 shots at once, it should be like that.
Oh, it's double tap trigger, yeah.
Yeah, it should just be Gordon double taps instead of firing 2 barrels at once. Because I like the idea of doing a super shotgun style blast. I just hate that they depict it as firing quote-unquote both barrels when there's only one. This is a magazine tube, Valve. Nah, but, I mean, it's fine. I think it's neat that it is a hybrid action shotgun. I totally get why so many things depict it as such, because this is kind of intimidating, but not useful. Gordon probably should have taken some actual firearms training. Also, why the hell are the HECU using this, of all shotguns? It would definitely be an A+. But Gordon needs to learn how to use this thing, and also Valve needs to learn how the heck it actually works. It's an A-. Its implementation in Half-Life is weird, but it's still a totally usable, fun, fine weapon. Is that a machine gun? Oh my god, it is. Now I can solve up to 800 problems a minute. Finally got to do the thing. I forgot to do it so many times recording these videos. That goes in, ka-thunk, that goes up, and now we grab this, and now we go... First of all, I also need the SD, because it is visually the SD in-game. It's the SD3. I also did not grab a magazine, I just stuck it straight in the thing. Okay. So visually, it's this, with the underbarrel. I don't know why on earth it would be suppressed in Half-Life. But supposing it is suppressed, it has, like, 0 kick. And is totally fine. Now let's use it as it sounds and shoots. And then... Yay! Yeah, so, you know, Gordon runs around like this, and then he just pulls the trigger and blasts indiscriminately because I guess he's Gordon Freeman. Doesn't think about the ramifications of his actions. This makes more sense than this. I don't know why the HECU would bother with a silenced SMG. Especially because you would have to get a custom foregrip to put the grenade launcher on it, and I can't do that. So that can go away. It's fine. I think the only issue is it's not very accurate. And it fires 9mm, you know, his pistol ammo, so you have to use a whole bunch of this. Whereas I think it's more economical in a crisis situation just to keep using the Glock. It's one of those things where I think it's fine, maybe a little excessive for the scenario.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a B. It's a solid B. And then in the HD version, for some reason, it's a Colt now. And I was trying to install Module AR, which has a 9mm Colt, and then I got confused and scared, so I stopped. So we just have the M4A1 Shorty. And I've put the M203 on it because it's, you know, it's an M4. It kind of needs the M203. Sights are bad. I don't get why Gearbox made the HD models. Like, they're all functionally worse weapons. You know, how, like, I mean, I could put the carry handle on this. I don't know what that would accomplish. Except for make this impossible to use. Yeah, that looks a little more accurate. But now the problem is, they don't line up. You can't even see the actual front sight you're supposed to be lining up with. Oh, I'm out. I can at least do the John Wick thing. Almost. There we go. I hit the telephone pole. It's a C. I'd rather you not, but if you're going to, I guess. Yes? Alright, and before us are all the weapons from Half-Life 2. Starting with the USP match. I have two different matches here. This is the standard one in 45, as well as a game-accurate 9mm with glow sights. It really doesn't matter which one I fire, so I'll put that one down, I guess. Alright, so now we do the funny reload. There we go. Just like Gordon. It's funny, this weapon screams Gordon Freeman.
Yeah.
But he's only had it for 16, almost 17 years out of 23.
Not bad.
Okay, so he has had this for a while, never mind. This isn't the iconic weapon, but it sure is iconic. I don't know why the Combine have this, because they discontinued the USP match in like 2004. But, I mean, it's a looker. It's kind of got that boxy Metro Cop aesthetic to it. This one feels the most iconic of all of his weapons. It's up there with the crowbar, and I think that's kind of special, because everything from like 1999 up to when Half-Life 2 came out had a USP match in it, but somehow it feels like the Gordon Freeman weapon. So kudos to Valve for making that one happen. And with that in mind, it's... But we also have to consider, how useful is this? This is no more useful than the... No, it is more useful than the Glock. Because it's actually got, you know, proper glow sights instead of just bright white. I cannot bring myself to give it any less than like an A-. I cannot do that. We already talked about the revolver. Oh, people are going to say, oh, but the revolver in Half-Life HD, the HD textures, is different from the Python. You're right, but let's go over here, because it's the Colt Anaconda. There is no Colt Anaconda in this game. I mean, I could fire something that isn't the Colt Anaconda, but then people will be like, that wasn't the Colt Anaconda. What do you want from me? Huh? You want me to fire
There's no one to fire.
This? Look, the bullets come out the bottom. Isn't that weird? Hooray! We did it. You want me to fire the Unica 6? The only flippin' semi-automatic revolver ever made? Hooray! Are you happy now? One of those will count as the Colt Anaconda, and I won't give it a rating because it's not that. Anyways, here's Annabelle. So to do this justice, I must only fire 2 shots. Funny religious talk. You are but the sheep traveling through my flock, and these are my friends or whatever. Haha! I'm crazy Russian man with gun. I will not give you this one. I will give you crappy spas shotgun that shoot from both barrel. How would do that? Nobody know. Haha! Haha! That's my flawless Father Gregory impression. That whole chapter's like that. Ravenholm as a whole bothers me because they're like, oh, we don't go there, but you never learn why they don't go there other than they bombed it with headcrab shells, and you never get to learn, like, what Ravenholm was for. There's so many moments in Half-Life 2 that are like that. And I guess it's cool that, you know, you're living that world from the eyes of Gordon Freeman, who also has no idea what's going on. But, like, you know, the difference is Gordon could at least, like, not ask, because he doesn't talk, but, you know, he could, you know, grab a piece of newspaper that's got some, you know, Earth surrenders on it and stare wistfully at it until, like, Eli or Kleiner is like, oh, you want to know what happened about that, huh? Well, it all went like this. I don't know which scientist talks like that, but one of them does now.
Apparently, yes.
Hold on, I've got to do the, there we go. Yeah. Look, Gordon! Lore! There we go. No, this is a lovely weapon. Gordon needs some class to his arsenal. Because everything in Half-Life 2 is either, like junk or dystopian sci-fi or Y2K aesthetic. You kind of need something a little more old school. And if they're going to keep going in the direction of wacky sci-fi space nonsense, I want them to give Gordon a lever-action rifle. It's got... I mean, in the game, it's just a SPAS 12, but, like, Gordon's hands do a weird thing to load it. Or you can only fire it, like, twice, and then it's jammed forever. I don't remember. I want this. Gregory can keep the shotgun. I want this. And with that said, I'm compelled to give this an S.
Did you go over the MP7 with the underbarrel, or did we already do that with Half-Life 1?
No, I looked on the ground and found a weapon. Nice. The recoil on this is aggressive. And not only is it an aggressive amount of recoil, it's a weird round. And then plus, it's got the extra bonus. Let's fire the grenade launcher. That's the most useful part of this weapon. In Half-Life 2, I legitimately feel like the MP7 is one of the worst weapons in video game history. Half-Life 2's MP7. It's weak. It feels like it's super inaccurate. It eats your pistol rounds like candy when the flippin' pistol is like a 2 or 3 kill, or a 2 or 3 headshot kill on pretty much everything. And it's a much more useful grenade launcher than a rifle. Or not a rifle, a submachine gun. Pair that with the in-game model having this tiny red dot, and the MP7 having a ridiculous amount of kick. It's just not good. Like, this might be my least favorite weapon in a video game, the MP7 as it appears in Half-Life 2. Just everything about it is a hateful machine. So I would be convinced to give it an F if we were talking about their implementation in Half-Life 2. If we were rating the weapons as they appear in Half-Life 2. Unfortunately, we are talking about these as if you are Gordon Freeman and you must kill. And it raises... I thought the magazine was empty. It raises a lot of logistics issues. Where are the Combine getting this very specific, thin, narrow little round from? Who's still making ammo for this years into the future? Why did the Combine decide they wanted this? It's, again, like a very sci-fi weapon. It looks... You know, it looks like something from, you know, The Matrix or whatever. But does anyone actually want this? It's getting a C-. It's joining the Beretta. It might not be awful IRL versus in Half-Life 2, but it sure is confusing.
Alright. Now comes the fun part.
I fired the AR-3. In City 12, we were lousy with AR-3s. Or whatever that guy says. That guy in Episode 2 is a magnificent, wonderful jerk. No, it's real. There is an AR-3. Well, here it is. This is from... There is a character, Take and Hold character, called Well Done Free Meat, which is full of Half-Life 2 parody weapons. And this is one of them. Made bespoke for that. That MP7 and that MP7 and that USP match were made for that character as well. But, you know, nowhere else is it as blatant that this is a Half-Life 2, specifically a Half-Life 2 parody update than here. It's an energy weapon, and if I actually... Well, I can do this. First of all, I feel like the weapon's animated wrong in Half-Life 2. Just another energy orb just goes boop boop. And the idea is each one has like X number of charges. No. This should be a detachable magazine, and you load a new one. MMod does that correctly. Or not correctly, but MMod does that, and it feels better. It's got a lot more weight to it. A lot of the weapons in Half-Life 2 lack weight. That's the problem. And then, we can do this. Hey, it's the Combine Energy Ball. Yeah, it's fine. If Gordon isn't, like, bio-locked out of this weapon, if it requires, like, Combine hands or something, absolutely grab this, because... You know, it's got some heft to it. And plus, you're guaranteed to find tons of ammo for it, because it's the Combine's weapon. They're not going to go to invasions unless they have plenty of ammo. You know, you don't want to be the guy that's showing up to, like, Jupiter being like, haha, I'm killing all the Jupiterians. Uh-oh, I'm out of ammo. We have to stop this invasion. We'll be back sometime later. See ya. No, you're going to have, like a quadrillion goddamn rounds on you. Because, you know, it takes a long time to drain oceans and steal food and trees. Anyways, that brings us here, and this gets... it gets like an A-ish. I would still say that the revolver is better, but... Because you have sights, but... it's fine. Alright, crossbow time. In Half-Life 2, it fires superheated rebar, which makes no sense. In this game, because everything's meat-themed, it fires hot dog. Hooray! I don't feel like superheated rebar would pierce through somebody. I feel like it would
bend before it hits anything.
Yeah, I feel like it would tear some skin, but it also bend, like, stick to you. Essentially, you've just built a long-distance cattle brand. Which is horrifying.
Like it would burn, for sure. But it wouldn't necessarily, like, go in one side out the other.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to pin somebody to the wall with it. unless you have a ridiculous amount of force behind it, and I think at that force, your metal would just shatter before anything.
With that much force, you might as well just use a real gun.
With that much force, you might as well stick somebody's head up here and just let the flippin' cords slice through them.
Good point.
So, oh, the stock extends. Didn't know that.
Surprise.
In-game, it's made out of garbage, because, some scavenger has this, and you actually found what chapter they're in. It's just like a dead guy, right?
Yeah, just like a regular dead dude who you basically just take out.
One of the guys that'd be voiced by John Patrick Lowry is like face down or something. This is just sitting there. Doesn't explain why there's still a whole bunch of rebar to pick up throughout the rest of the game, though. It's fine. It's a little ridiculous. But I don't think it's ridiculous enough to the point where it upsets me. I gave the USP match, what, an A-?
Yes.
This is also an A-. Next up, we have 2 weapons exclusive to the beta build of Half-Life 2. We have... I should probably spawn lock this first. We have the AK. It's an AK. This would have been interesting to have in Half-Life 2. And it also makes sense, because these are super rugged and cheap. From what I understand, the model that was made for Half-Life 2 was instead brought over to Counter-Strike Source. It would give Half-Life 2 some parity between like Half-Life 1, because that had the MP5 and the Colt. This is a little different. I assume it would just fit the same role as the MP5, so I'll give it the exact same rating as the MP5. I don't mind one over the other.
Okay, you do realize that the next one is going to be a different MP5, right?
Yeah, but the difference is this one is small. And because it's small, you know, it wouldn't be as accurate. It'd be harder to control. And, you know, I guess it exists. I don't think we know what role it would have played in Half-Life 2. Hooray. I don't get why you'd want the MP5K. That's about it. What did I give the Colt? A B?
C.
Oh, a C? This gets... Oh, but I gave the Glock a B-, didn't I?
Yeah. Good luck fitting that in there.
C+.
C+ for the MP5K?
Yeah. And now we're into Half-Life Alyx, and there's only one weapon. There's only one weapon in Half-Life Alyx that's verifiably and identifiably based on a real-world weapon, and it's the 1911. You know, you're gonna need a gun. It's unloaded now. I forgot to say it's unloaded. Oh well.
Don't worry, it's unloaded.
Don't worry, it's unloaded. Ow. Don't worry, it's unloaded. It's unloaded now. In Half-Life 2, the beta, the barrel was like telescoping, and it could become like an SMG or a rifle. In Half-Life Alyx, it gets a bullet reservoir, which I think is an extra magazine. I don't know really how to explain it. And it gets a reflex sight that's just like 5 circles.
Yeah.
It really doesn't need any of this stuff because it's, this. Valve has this nasty habit of, they have a good thing going, and they find a way to goof it up. And they're like, yeah, let's just turn this into a weird cyber pistol. Didn't need to be a cyber pistol. It could have just stayed this. The 1911 or whatever the weapon, the actual weapon that was used in Half-Life Alyx, also gets a B.
All right.
Those were backwards.
Back to opposing force now.
Well, hold on, because this game has a gravity gun. And I forget that it has a gravity gun because it's massive. Power, electricity, radium. Keep it on this mode, I think. And away it goes! I think there's a reason why every weapon in Half-Life 2 sucks. And it's to make using the gravity gun more awesome. And you know what? It worked. This one also has the weird... That had so much more force than I was ready for. Okay. Turn that off. It gets an S. We'll figure that one out later. Opposing force. Desert Eagle. 357? Yeah.
You know, the deagle that doesn't look like a deagle.
Well, this one looks fine. It's a little narrow, which looks weird. But, it's not just that. Because for whatever reason, the one in opposing force has this under-barrel mounted, laser. So let's go ahead and give it its mounted laser. Disgusting! I mean, it does make it good, like, better to aim. The model in opposing force. Gearbox really goofed it up. It doesn't look like a Desert Eagle at all. It looks like some sort of unholy nightmare. But it's fine. It's functionally... It's like the revolver. It is that game's revolver, technically. But, you know, you get a couple extra more rounds. And it's got a laser. The issue, though, is I don't know if you want a Desert Eagle in a real-life situation. Because...
No, that's significantly more power than you actually will need in, like, any situation.
Well, it's only 357 Magnum, so it's not the power that's an issue. The issue is the gas system. This whole thing comes flying open to flippin', like, inhale cold air to keep the weapon from overheating. This is like a vacuum cleaner, and these lugs have to line up perfectly, otherwise it jams, and then it doesn't shoot. So, you have to keep this thing in tip-top condition. And that's why no real-world military uses Desert Eagles. Because they're just finicky. It's like if, you know, you took a flippin' prized beauty contest cat and tried to teach it how to hunt. So while it should be, like, somewhere up here, it goes somewhere out here now, I guess. I don't know. Better than that. Yeah. It's like a B+, I guess. Because now this is how we're rating everything. Mamma mia. And now we have the M249. Right?
Yep, M249.
And it's got a box. See, Shepard... Never mind, because I was about to say, Shepard messed up. He could just stick a regular magazine in the M249's mag well and fire that. But it does jam. People are going to bring that up. In the Fallout video, I didn't say it jams a lot, because, I did actually, but I cut it because I didn't say it right, so I just figured I'd just leave it. The other thing, another correction to the Fallout video, I say Purple Rain, in terms of the M60. That's Prince. I was thinking Purple Haze, which is Hendrix. So now that joke makes sense. Let's fire this thing. The sights are really good. You get ammo for days. It's pretty punchy. This is what, 7.62, 5.56. Okay. Yeah. It's just a big version of the M4. It doesn't have the grenade launcher, but it really doesn't need it. The only issue with this thing is it's heavy. That's why it gets a bipod. Because I only got one hit that whole time. Because you don't want to be the guy that has to carry this thing around in battle, because it's heavy. But Shepard, I guess, can manage, because he's a soldier, and probably on, like, cocaine and steroids, because it was the 90s. So with that in mind, this gets a pretty decent rating as well. This gets an A-, which means it gets to go on the table. Hooray! And now, last but certainly not least, the M40A1. This one I actually get. I feel like Half-Life has needed a rifle like this, and I feel like that's why I like Annabelle as much as I do. Because it really kind of fills a role that no other weapon in Half-Life can fill. You know, the crossbow is neat and all, but this is just so much better. Oh, 6 rounds. Nice. Yeah, Shepard absolutely picked the perfect weapon to carry with him on these excursions. Nice and accurate. You really don't get many opportunities to do long-range shooting in opposing force. I mean, for crying out loud, the final boss is like at the end of a hallway. But no, it's lovely. This also gets an S. I think the point I'm coming to is this game needs some long-range, like, sniping weapons. Alright, so that brings us to the end of Half-Life. Let's go down the ranks. We have over here at the S, we have Annabelle, we have the M40, we have the gravity gun. In the A territory, we have the Python, the M249, the AR2/AR3, the SPAS-12, and then out here in the Wilderness of Woe, we have the MP5. We have the Beretta 92, should probably be further out that way. MP7, again, out that way, ain't great. MP5K, the Glock, the AKM. Over here we have the M4, or the Colt, what was it, Colt 829?
What, the rifle?
Yeah.
Colt 727.
727, okay.
Yeah.
The numbers mean nothing to me, I'm sorry. That's over here, I guess. Alyx's gun and the Desert Eagle are about on par with one another. The USP match should probably go on the table of good, so we're going to throw it down that way. And then over here at the edge of the universe, we have... Oh, that Glock mag I threw at the very beginning. Alright, now I have to jump down here. What is this? Oh, the crossbow! Well, I learned my lesson.
That we will hopefully not need to do this 5th time?
Don't play with gravity. Gravity, don't want it. There's nothing good about gravity. So, with that said, I think it's time for me to leave. Play me out, DuckTales moon theme. If you like this video and you'd like to see more, I'd recommend subscribing. Patreon and social media links are in the description.